Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Just wanted to come on here and do another thought on the go real quick. Normally, when I do these, I like to talk about inspirational topics and things that's going to help you, especially during this lockdown on your day to day. But, I felt compelled, man, to come on here for a moment and just really give you my candid thoughts concerning the current riots that are taking place in our country over the death of George Floyd, who was an African American that was wrongfully, in, not only in my opinion, but in the opinion of the world, really, especially in America, he was wrongfully killed by police and things of that nature. But I think in times like this, people are expressing a form of unrestness. They are tired of just really what's going on in the country, tired of what seems to be a nonchalant, just a complete disregard for a people group here in America. And so, of course, you may have people out there who disagree with their methods. I cannot say that I am 100% for what is taking place, but it doesn't surprise me one bit. It does not surprise me one bit, especially when, you have media that is continuously, showing in a way where it's almost becoming a form of propaganda, this idea that racism and things of that nature are really bad, and it's becoming a huge problem in our country, which it is. It's always been a problem. It's always been an issue. I will never deny that as an African American. But in the midst of everything that is going on, we have to ask ourselves, what is going to be the end result of this? What is going to be the end result of me breaking, a glass or whatever? Am I going to feel some form of release? If that's what you're looking for, then you'll get it, but you'll get it temporarily. Just like that glass will remain broken temporarily. And again, I'm not saying these things to solely, express I'm not 100% against the riots, okay? But by the same token, I want you to begin to think logically here about what's taking place. Because while at the time of me recording this, the CNN Center in Atlanta has been completely vandalized by a crowd of people, not just conservative, evangelical, Trump supporters. You actually have Black Lives Matter supporters that are out there, black and white people alike, that are destroying the CNN world headquarters. And again, it's not just a target on CNN per se. I believe that this is, the world in America right now is very frustrated. And so they're, showing that frustration in multiple cities in our country. But specifically in Atlanta, I wanted to focus in because now the media is becoming a target of these protests. And so in the midst of that, I think it's important for us to understand logically here what's taking place. If your goal is just to, destroy these establishments, you have to understand that even though that may bring a temporary release to you, it may make you feel better for a moment. It's not going to bring about long-term sustainable change. Yeah, you'll get people hyped up and riled up, and people to get all up and tight for a minute. But truth be told, even with CNN, like those windows that people are breaking out and things of that nature, people can replace that, especially a corporation as big as them. They'll replace the glass, they'll do all that other stuff. Okay, so it's not going to hurt them as much in the long run. However, I will say that this should be a wake-up call to the media as well, the secular media. And I've been meaning to do a broadcast about that, and I will do a broadcast about that in the future because I believe, they are partly responsible for the chaos that's really taking place in our country right now. I think this idea of continuously profiting off of the idea of everyone being a racist and everyone being against each other, it's so lucrative, right? The whole aspect, especially when it comes to news media, never forget this. And again, I'm telling you this from the perspective of someone who actually, I'm in the television industry, so I know this to be true, okay? Always remember this. Conflict will always produce ratings, okay? And the main goal when it comes to money, when it comes to advertisement, when it comes to all these things, is having good ratings, all right? Again, that's the foundational principle. You see this even in platforms like YouTube. You have a whole bunch of views, a whole bunch of subscribers. You're going to get some good deals with people that wants to work with you. They want you to sponsor their product, talk about their product on your channel, so you can go ahead and basically so that they can reach a particular audience. All right. The Jerry Springer show, for example, was also popular for this reason for so many years because of the conflict. Okay, it actually started off being a more cordial show, but when people began to realize that conflict was what was selling, that's what they continuously propagated. The fights and baby mama drama and all this other stuff, right? News organizations like CNN have now, instead of reporting pure journalism, have gone to report certain articles, certain news stories merely for the ratings aspect. So it's not necessarily about getting all of the facts per se from a particular news station or particular story, etc. It's more or less, what can I get that's going to bring about the most conflict, that's going to bring the most views to the station. That's basically the mode that a lot of these people are in. Not just CNN, Fox does it too, a lot of them do it. So the point of me bringing this up is this. What we are seeing, what I believe what we're seeing happen in our very eyes in America is a group of people, black and white, etc., that are all frustrated, okay? They're frustrated with what they are seeing being displayed to them on a continuous basis, okay? They're frustrated with that, and they're frustrated that there seems to be no real, legitimate change taking place. I believe it is a tragedy what happened to George Floyd. I believe it's a tragedy, a great tragedy, when injustices are done against people of color in America, and it's a tragedy when injustice is done to anyone, right? But by the same token, I also believe that it is a tragedy that we have lived in a country that instead of, trying to, and again, I really believe that there are people, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, that are doing a great job as it pertains to race relations. They're building bridges, etc. But you do have a group of people out there that wants to see America divided. They want to see us destroyed. And that's why they continuously put out that image, okay? And so it's sad that you have a group of people that actually pretty much wanted this to happen. And so now we're left with, what's going to be the reconciliation? What's going to be the missing piece that puts us all together? What's going to be the answer? Is it going to be more legislation that's passed? Is it going to be the training of police officers and things of that nature? Is it going to be just different things that so many people are wondering and thinking could actually help? And the truth of the matter is, I believe that it's going to take a little bit of everyone coming to the table, but also being empathetic towards one another in a time like this. I don't think that the church being silent or acting like this problem isn't a problem or an issue is going to be the answer. Rather, we all need to come together, stand as one, and really lift up the greatest message that I believe is even displayed in Scripture. Okay, the message of not only love but unity that really is only found in Christ. You know, Billy Graham, I personally, if I had to choose an evangelist, Billy Graham wouldn't be my quote-unquote favorite evangelist, but when it pertains to matters such as these, I respect him tremendously because he was one of the only major white evangelists that stood with Dr. King back during the time of the Jim Crow era and you know, the peaceful protests that were taking place back then. He spoke out against it. He lost partners. He lost ministry partners who were white racists. He lost those people, but he was still able to make a stand. And, you know, what times like these need to have just engulfed in them is the church, okay, being the light, all right? Not giving in to the voices that secular media is continuously putting out there, but rather they are the ones that are displaying love. They are the ones displaying unity. They are the ones that are promoting these things in neighborhoods that may be, you know, from different ethnic backgrounds of their own, but they're promoting the great gospel message in these neighborhoods, you know, and not saying, hey, you know, we're just going to think that this group of people only thinks like this or they only want this. No. We need to have empathy and not just be so quick to, you know, tune out other people. I came across a tweet, or it was either a tweet or a Facebook post, but either way it got my attention earlier today. And one thing it got my attention with was the statement that it said, you know, when it comes to these riots, a lot of people will be quick to say, hey, you know, it's wrong to be burning down buildings and stuff like that. It's wrong to protest in such a manner. But again, a lot of the people that are saying that, not saying that I'm saying those people are wrong, because truth be told, you know, I can't condone that 100%, but I do see it, you know, from a analytical, logical perspective. I see how that's going to take place in a country such as ours, just given the way it's structured. Now, I mean, if it's taking place in places like Hong Kong, I mean that's democracy for you. So it's not uncommon for it to be in America. But the thing is when you have people who are consistently saying that this is wrong, this is messed up, you guys shouldn't be doing this, you should be peacefully protesting. Okay, then you have to point back to the Colin Kaepernick situation, right? The man was kneeling, you know, peacefully, not harming nobody, but yet his protest was still seen as unjust, unfair. And I think, again, these are things that people take into consideration, because now you're saying it's wrong to burn down buildings, it's wrong to quote-unquote protest peacefully. So what is the right course of action? You know, what is it? And I think it's all ironic because we're talking about this in the midst of the quote-unquote coronavirus pandemic, and you would think that pandemic doesn't even exist anymore, right? You would think that it's just completely gone. You know, a lot of these people that are protesting, that they're not wearing masks. Some of them are, but a good bit of them aren't wearing masks. And you know, it's sad. I think it's very sad that it took such an atrocity happening in our country for the whole pandemic aspect of the coronavirus to, you know, for that to decimate for just a moment. You know, I think it's sad that it took an event like this for people to just throw all of that away and say, look, we're going to go out and we're going to stand for, you know, what's right and not be a part of the problem. So, my closing, man, again, these are my candid thoughts. So I'm just giving them to you raw. I wasn't planning on giving them to you, but I just thought that, truth be told, what was taking place at the CNN Center, I just believe that to be very profound for various reasons, because I don't think that my generation and the generation that's coming up after me is just going to take, they're not just going to be so quick to take everything the media is saying at face value, but they are also going to want, whenever there is an issue such as this to be brought to the table, they want not only people to appeal to the emotional aspect of it, but they want to bring about real change, So I think we have to be careful of that. And yeah, you want to pray for people in media, because you will say, well, they're just doing their jobs and things of that nature. You're understandable of that, but by the same token, you have to do your job in an ethical manner, just like these police officers. Do we pray for police? Absolutely. In our ministry, we've had a good bit of police officers be connected to our ministry. We even have a few now, and they're all good, Christian police officers. Like, I have at least one cousin who was a police officer, and again, we understand that police officers aren't just white individuals. They are black police officers as well. And so, again, these are real people with real families, real lives, and yes, we pray for them, we lift them up. But by the same token, we all have to do our part. We all have to practice. We have to do our job ethically. If you are doing something that you shouldn't be doing on the job, man, I mean, we can't really stand by that. And I really, really, really hope, my dearest hope, is that in the midst of all of this, the church doesn't lose the opportunity to truly show forth the gospel. The gospel was made for moments just like these. Jesus had to correct the racism in Peter's heart in the Bible, in the book of Acts. Peter thought so low of Gentiles, him being a Jew. And God gave him a vision. In the vision, Peter was like, I never ate anything unclean in my life. The Jews, they couldn't eat certain things as Jews. They still don't. They have kosher items, so they still don't partake in certain things. But Jesus said something profound to Peter in that vision, and it changed the course of history. It even changed the course of the church that we have today. He told him, he said, what I have called clean, don't you call uncommon, okay? Don't consistently ignore the issues that are taking place in the community of your brothers and sisters throughout the lands of America and even various parts of the world. I never thought, I always thought it was crazy how you have these people that can go overseas to these countries such as Africa and take care of their poor kids and all this other stuff. And meanwhile, you have kids, even here in America, that look just like them with the same color skin tone, and they are consistently ignored or belittled as, thugs or people who could control their situation and circumstances if those people in Africa couldn't. But again, that's neither here nor there. I'm not against going overseas and things of that nature. That's not the point of this video, but the point is, to consistently encourage all of you, but definitely encourage those who have been on the fence about things like this to continuously promote unity, man. You don't have to be out there at Black Lives Matter rallies to know that Black Lives Matter. And again, those of you that do understand what that means, it's not saying that white lives don't matter and all this other stuff. We got to get rid of these insecurities, man. You got to, and that's another thing. And I'll go ahead and bring this up while I'm talking about it. I was so disappointed when there was another video of a young black man getting killed not too long before this. I believe his name was Ahmaud Arbery, and if I'm saying that wrong, I do apologize, but you know, and again, I'm talking from the Christian perspective now, because that's what I'm in. I was disappointed to see people that call themselves Christian, white Christians, that were saying things such as, you know, when my white brothers and sisters were speaking up, saying, yo, this was wrong, et cetera, et cetera. I was disappointed to see white Christians saying stuff like, to them that were speaking up, oh, you're taking their side, don't forget about white Christians, and white Christians are being persecuted, and, you know, they begin to pull out the victim card, you know. And I'm not saying that I agree with everything that happened with the whole Ahmaud Arbery case, or even what happened here with George Floyd. I believe that these are two distinctly different cases with two different individuals, because they were both different individuals, okay, with different circumstances. Nevertheless, consistently, always seeing this aspect of victimhood from both sides, because, again, folks don't want to, at the end of the day, look, you may feel uncomfortable because what you're seeing on the news and on the media is people that look like you that are portraying a message of hate, okay? But even though that may not be you, the way you combat all of that is not playing into it, not feeding into it, but again, displaying the gospel in your life, even by building connections with people that look different from you, all right? I have plenty of white friends, and I'm not ashamed of it. I thank God for them. I thank God for my Hispanic friends. I thank God for everybody that's about unity, that's about equality, and all of that in this final hour of time. But I'm also thankful for the fact that you have people that are seeing through what's taking place now. People who are no longer going to tolerate this aspect of, you know, division that's consistently being propagated. And again, I do want you to know that in the midst of all of this, we have to ask ourselves, when it comes to long-term change, what's going to be the effective route to take, as opposed to just doing a short-term thing that may make us feel better. But if all we're going to do is tweet, post videos, and, you know, say all types of catchy things during this time, if that's all we're going to do when it comes to stuff like this, instead of actually doing what I was talking about, you know, building those relationships with people that look different from you, etc., then we missed the whole point. We missed the whole point of what's going on. And, you know, again, we have to lose that mentality of victimhood and begin to embrace the fact that, hey, look, I can't control what happened in times past, but I can definitely control my present. I can control what I do in the future. So, you know, in the future, man, and again, I'm saying this because I'm tired of seeing issues like this be ignored within the confines of the church because we feel as if they're too controversial. Let me tell you something. Dr. King was able to be, you know, influential and the person he was because of his roots, all right? It was because you had the church. And again, everybody, all the churches back, even during Dr. King's day, didn't get on the same page. But he had enough people that got on the same page with him that made a lasting impact to the point that we're talking about it to this day. So I believe what these protests are really missing is the church's leadership, and we got to be out there leading and showing the people, man, how to do this, you know, in a peaceful manner. But by the same token, you know, the protests weren't just the end all be all. We had Dr. King and different ones working behind the scenes to get legislations passed and things of that nature, and we're thankful for that. But by the same token, just because a person signs a bill doesn't necessarily mean all the problems go away. Okay, we thank God for certain bills being signed, such as the stimulus checks that went out, but it doesn't negate the fact that some people still don't have jobs, some people still don't have sources of income coming in. Although if you are in America and you don't have a job, the government is basically taking care of you right now with not only the stimulus checks, but the unemployment checks and things of that nature as well. But again, in the midst of everything that's going on, I believe the gospel has the answers. Christianity is not a white man's religion. It's not a black man's religion. It is a religion for all people. And it's because of that we see the gospel spreading across the world, man. And if we're actually living what the gospel is presenting to us, then we don't have issues like this. But whenever we decide to go our own way and do our own thing, then yeah, you're gonna have people that hate you and things of that nature. So again, you can't really control other people hating you, but you can control what you do. Okay, you can control how you live. So, my candid thoughts as far as this whole thing goes is just that, man. We got to do better. It's time for a change, and I really hope that you are a part of the change. Okay. Now, I wasn't going to do this thought on the go. Like I said, I was going to go to bed, but I just couldn't. I couldn't do it without going to. I couldn't go to bed without doing this because, again, like I said, these riots are going on right now, like right now. So we definitely have a lot to not only think about, but a lot to do going forward, in my opinion, especially as a church. Let's be the light, okay? Let's be the salt of the earth, like the good book tells us to be, okay? And not just going our own way or doing our own thing or talking about only specific topics. Let me tell you, we all can make a difference. We all can make a difference, but it starts with us taking action, okay? And holding ourselves responsible, each of us, all right? So listen, I love you. I'm praying for you. I'm about to go, but if you enjoyed this broadcast, I encourage you to follow me, to stay connected for other broadcasts in the future. Connect with me on other various platforms. Until that next time, I want you to know above all else that you are on the mind of God, no matter if you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic. You are on the mind of God. And his thoughts towards you are good thoughts and not evil